When we talk about Nigerians' wealth, oil dominates the conversation. Now, in your view, what is Nigerians' real wealth that we are all ignoring? What is Nigerian wealth that we are all ignoring? Do you agree that Nigerian is the richest? It's very rich, but poorly leveraged. Again, what evidence actually supports this? Now, many Nigerians say there is no money in this country. Do you also agree to that? Or is money simply in the wrong hands or sector? If Nigeria is truly poor, why do we see wealth everywhere? From the markets, to tech hubs, to roadside businesses. What exactly is the contradiction? You will find out very soon. Hello and welcome to World Curation on Global Television. My name is Ambassador Tina Kenechwo. Today we'll be discussing an interesting topic. I mean, when I say interesting, a very interesting topic. And I'm so excited, to be seated here to talk about this topic. And the topic says Nigerian untapped wealth beyond natural resources. I take it again. Nigerians untapped wealth beyond natural resources. Today you will understand what exactly is a real wealth that we are all ignoring in Nigeria. We will also understand what we need to stop doing as individuals or as a nation, or what we need to start doing in order to start creating lasting wealth. And then everyday Nigerian skills. You need to also learn and understand everyday Nigerian skills and talents that we are all underestimating. We'll be right back. Please stay tuned. Welcome back. To discuss this interesting topic today with me, it's an amazing personality. He's a man I respect so much. This young man is an author, he's an inspirational writer, he's a thought leader, and he's also known for nations building and human capital development. He's a man that authored A New Nigeria is Possible, and also a book known as Global Harmony. Ladies and gentlemen, join me to make welcome no other person than Mr. Chris Chukwumogo Nwani. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And I'm so excited to have you.
Yeah, same here.
You're welcome.
I'm really happy to be here today.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So how do you feel being here today? How do you feel
this is the
being
first
here today?
time I even know there is a place like this. So,
Well,
but whenever it has to do with talking about my nation, Nigeria, I'm always interested.
yeah. Beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful. I'm also very excited to have you on the show because I've read one of your book. That is the Global Harmony, and I mean an interesting, an interesting work you did there. Beautiful. That's very important, and I can also say that to discuss this topic today, I'm sure you have all the experience and what the audience need today. So I'm happy to have you here today.
Thank you.
Now, the topic of discussion today is Nigerians' untapped wealth beyond natural resources. To dissect this topic in a layman's understanding, what do you actually mean? What exactly do you mean when we say Nigerian, wealth beyond natural resources? What do we mean in a layman's understanding?
In a layman's understanding, if going by the context of humanity and the global rating of things, why they say countries are greater than others, one is the population of that country. Then two, the resources this population are able to generate in terms of being able to develop themselves, develop the society, and then extend this development to other parts of the world.
The world, yeah.
And when you look at it from that perspective, you can agree with me that Nigeria is a wealthy nation in terms of the human capital that we have. We have very robust population that is capable of making use of the abundance of resources we have. Unfortunately, we've not been able to tap into this because we've ignored what it takes to actually create wealth. We've all been focusing on so many other things, but as we go further into the discussion, possibly we'll bring out those areas of concern where I feel that Nigerians have not really done well.
So you actually believe that there are lots more areas that Nigerian has not really tapped into beyond the natural resources that we're talking about, right?
Yes, so many things, so many things, because the natural resources are just there. They are not, we didn't produce them. And the world cannot respect you just because of what the weather gave to you or what the society, that you didn't. But what the world respects is what you have, your intellect, your capacity, your productivity. These are the reasons why when they look at you and you said you have this, you have oil, you have gas, but what can you make out of it?
How many of them did you bring to the table?
People are coming from different places to tap into these resources, and you are seated on it. You can see this is the bane of Africa's underdevelopment, because we are seated in wealth, but we cannot create it.
Okay, now beyond these resources that you mentioned, these natural resources, and do you actually think that agriculture, technology can also become a very serious wealth creation engine for individuals and even for a nation? And then if you think that agriculture and technology can actually become part of the wealth creation engine in Nigeria today, aside the natural resources?
Yeah, if you go back to history, you'll find out that the origin of civilization, started with agriculture. And then they brought in technology into it to tap the abundance in those products that you get from agriculture. That was where civilization began. That's where people began to plan ahead. So when you look at it from that perspective, you find out that Nigeria is abundantly gifted in the area of agriculture. We have good land for so many things that we can produce, especially in the north. We have lands that are unutilized and that can be tapped into agricultural production that can even take care of almost the whole African country, the African continent. So you find out that we are rich, we have so much, but it's about what are we doing with this. So talk about technology right now.
Yeah, for technology, where can you, on a scale of 1 to 10, where can you actually measure Nigeria when you actually talk about technology in the world today?
Okay, generally, when I can say 3%. No, not 3%. 3 over 10.
3 over 10.
Yes.
Wow. That's below.
We're very much
close
below
to average.
because a lot of things have changed. I remembered some years back, say About 5 years ago, I traveled to Borno State, and on my way coming back, I still saw that they were still using camels, to till the ground, the farmers there. In a time, a season, era like this,
machineries
how much is tractors that government cannot buy and give to these farmers to enable them till the farm and all of that. And that makes a lot of people want to run away from farming, because you can't be disturbing yourself, over-laboring yourself, killing yourself when you are not making anything out of it. But because what a man, the capacity of a man, a tractor can do, the capacity of what a man can do in 1 month, he can do it in just 2 hours. So, and we know it. So we've ignored this area either because we are not interested in development and things have not been the way it ought to be.
So what you are saying in essence is that you're saying that aside of the natural resources, maybe the oil and all of those things that we sit on, and we can actually go back to agriculture, because it's also said that that was actually where resources started from, and then of course also improve upon in our technology. But there's something you said very interesting. You said that the world does not respect you because of what you inherited. I mean, that's a very powerful statement.
Yeah.
That's a very powerful statement, because when it is it's time for decision making, people want to know, what did you bring to the table in terms of your intellectual property, production wise, manufacturing, and all of that.
Yeah, your plans, your policies and things, the futuristic plans you put in place. These are the things that are missing. Wow, and it's based on that you can even talk about technology, because technology does just happen. It takes time. Over the years, you build it until you get it right.
Yeah, but you said something again. You also said that when we talk about natural resources, it goes way beyond, the mineral resources and all of that. You mentioned the population. Nigeria have one of the biggest population in the world, human capital development and all of that. Now, it is said that Nigeria has not just the largest population in the world, Nigeria has the largest youth population in the world today. Now, how can this population be converted into asset, not liability, and all of that in the modern Nigeria in contributing into world creation?
Yeah, that's where leadership comes in. I think the only gap here is leadership. The little that I know, you can't say that Nigerians are not industrious. The youth of Nigeria, they are not industrious, or they do not have what it takes to, to compete even in the global marketplace. We've seen it so many times, Nigerians coming out with flying colors in whatever they find themselves to do. But the truth is that if you are not giving the leverage, if you are not giving the enabling environment. To do things, I don't think anything can work. Today, we have 774 local governments across Nigeria. And each local government has an agricultural potential that they can say, let us develop. Then look at our budget, for example, what we do with it. If in every local government, there is, let's say, every local government in 3 years, we are budgeting like 2 billion, to create something around our locality, the things we can find in our locality, how, it can be utilized or brought into edible or finished products that are sellable. And we have it across the nation. Do you think Nigeria will still be looking for, we're talking about unemployment? No, because there's vastness in a lot of, even one product, from bringing it as a raw material to the finishing product, to marketing it, to distribution of it, all need people to do the chain of production. So there's so much that we can do. The youth of Nigeria, I don't think they're not lazy. They've shown competence.
They're underutilized.
They're underutilized.
Yeah, because if we have these industries, manufacturing,
we turn out thousands of them, who go to NYC orientation camp, every year, and people can be drawn. Some of them read agriculture. So why can't we find a basis for them, a place where they can now start functioning in those things they've learned, so that it could be beneficial? Because a life lived just for self-survival without having in mind societal development is worthless, because it's not transferable.
You're talking about now when you talk about mobilizing these youths to get some hands-on skills and knowledge and all of that. And a lot of them will tell you that I don't know what to do and all of that, and something like that. Just like yesterday, somebody DM'd me on Facebook, and then we're chatting, and a young man, and then in the process he was like, oh, that he's jobless, he doesn't know what to do and all of that. So I asked him what course of study and all of that. So from there we got talking and all of that. So you could see that some people don't even know where to start from, and I think it's also one of the reasons why mentorship is also very important. I feel
but that also calls to question what kind of education are we giving our children?
I think we will get there. But first of all, what are the skills, the creative capacity? What are the skills from where you sit, the skills, the talent, and the creative capacities that Nigerians, have currently that is largely untapped? That we can say the youth, we can go back to this. We can start, we mention agriculture, beautiful. But what are the other areas? Aside just having your first degree, your second degree, and then your third degree, you're probably waiting on the day you jump out of the country. Or aside having your regular job and all of that, what are other areas that you can actually also develop in terms of your skills, talent, and then creative abilities? And you think that right now is untapped in Nigeria, and a lot of people need to start looking towards that direction.
Yeah, there's so many of them. I wouldn't say they are not looking in that direction. But because of the difficulty, we mentioned the area of agriculture. Let's look at the normal, food farming, yam, cassava, and all of that. They are ongoing, but they need to have an enabling environment that will ensure that more people, it becomes attractive to young people to do that part. Then let's go to the other side of it. In Nigeria, we have a lot of mineral resources. These mineral resources are on the ground. It has to be tapped. In Nigeria today, a nation like Nigeria is supposed to have like 1 or 2 universities talking about how to tap these resources. But we don't have it. But there are other subjects that we don't even need. We don't need it in this country, but that's what they throw to the young people. So after coming out from school, you must, because you can't participate or practice what you do not know. It's based on your training that you now begin to practice. So we must be deliberate. There must be a deliberate attempt by the leaders to create the kind of education system. Because intelligence is not about speaking English or putting, looking at what other people are doing. It's about looking inwards. How can this education you are acquiring be able to take advantage of what you have to bring about development? I think these are the things that are missing.
Yeah, but the thing again is that for me, I also think that just like what you said, there's so many things that we need to actually look at as far as a nation. And then I also think, just like you mentioned, that Nigeria can currently be rated at 3/10 when it comes to technology. So I feel there's also a lot that we can do. Like, it's a Nigerian guy that started this Money Point stuff and all of that. And I heard that his net worth has really grown very high and all of that. So tech-wise, people need to also think deeply inside, just like what you said. And then I also feel there's something that a lot of Nigerians are also underestimating. For me, that was something I recently found out, and I realized that is a gold mine. And what is that? That is actually intellectual property. Intellectual property is one thing that people don't know that is money, is wealth. Whether you like it or not, no matter how corrupt the world is, no matter how corrupt an environment is, people are still looking for the people, professionals that knows what they ought to do. And I think coming back to what you also mentioned, how can our education system, you mentioned that education is not just to go pass through the 4 walls of the university and you come out with your degree and start looking for a job. We need to also find a way to integrate these skills and this talent into the 4 walls of the university, right? Now, coming back to you again, how do you think this can be happen? What restructuring do we need to do so that our education system, we don't keep producing job seekers instead of wealth creators. Companies, I heard that other countries and some countries currently also make their people to pass through some, technical and technological stuff and all of that, so they can create wealth, not just seeking for job. So from where you sit, what are some of the recommendations that you can give to our education system so that we will not just produce only job seekers?
Yeah, the problem with Nigeria is the ability to take up policies and make sure that it's executed the way it should because of corruption. Today, when we talk about the university system, for example, they are supposed to be producing educationists, people who are researchers, coming up with ideas that will help fuel the development of the country. But some people, they use JAMB, for example, as a criteria for entry into the university. Now, how do people gain admission? Sometimes it's not about how good you are. Some of the good places has already been taken over through, other sources rather than through your capacity. So today, all those things are no longer aligning. We have polytechnic system already. We're supposed to bring out the technical manpower of the nation. But all of this, the way it's being done, people don't want to go to
and all of that.
So there's a whole lot that I believe it takes leadership to change. And if that happens, because we have a people, we have the population, we have the manpower, but we must channel them, because as young people, you can't just become what you do not know. So they need guidance, and I think that area has failed, and that's where we're having major problems.
All right, we'll go on a short break and stay tuned. You're welcome back, and if you're just joining us, you're watching World Creation on Global Television. We're still discussing with Mr. Chris Mwani. Mr. Chris is an author and also a writer. He wrote A New Nigeria is Possible. And quickly, Mr. Chris, as we wrap up this show, please can you share a little bit, tell us a bit about your books, The New Nigeria is Possible and the Global Harmony.
Okay, just talking about taking initiative. Life is about taking initiative and looking at what your society needs. I think that's what propelled me. I wasn't a writer. I didn't plan to be one. I was a trained administrator and a banker. But from that point, I knew that something was missing in the society, and that is character, attitude, and leadership. So having known that is what is missing in the country, and that is the reason why we don't have development, enabling development, and then we don't have good leaders. I feel it was an area to tap into, and that was how I got myself into looking out for what can we do as a people to be able to grow up as citizens and as leaders. So that was what informed the writing of the book, A New Nigeria is Possible. And because my heart goes for my nation. That wherever you are in the world as a Nigerian, if you are doing well and your country is not doing the same thing, then there is something wrong. Because the reason we are created Nigerians is to actually build our nation. And anytime you are not doing that, and that is the message I have for everyone, the reason you are living is for Nigeria to live and to be developed.
Yes, so in one statement, what would be your advice to our viewers and who watching this show today in terms of creating wealth and then tapping, the wealth of the nation aside of the natural resources, aside of all the Japa syndrome, and then getting wealth rich? What would be your advice to the viewers out there?
My advice is that we should all know that Nigeria's wealth that is untapped is big enough, and that the best thing we have to do is to see how we can, participate in creating this wealth, because the world knows the wealth that we have. Even the human resources is more than enough for us. So let's think Nigeria, do Nigeria, and take responsibility for what we bring about the change we want to see in Nigeria.
Wow, thank you so much, Mr. Chris. It's been an amazing time with you here today on World Creation Global Television, and we look forward to having you once again the nearest future.
Thank you.
And then for everyone that joined us today, as we conclude today, I need you to understand that it is very, very important for you to understand that Nigeria's greatest wealth is not beneath the ground. That is one thing we need to understand. It is alive in its people, in our youth, in our women, in our skills, and also in our creativity. Nigerian wealth is also in our resilience as people. Now, beyond the natural resources lies untapped economic power, untapped resources that is powered by human capital, innovation, leadership, agriculture, and even local production. So all you need to do is identify any of this area and then start to tap the wealth that is reserved in that area. Many people earn money in Nigeria today, but the truth about it is that only those who plan, invest wisely, can actually build lasting wealth at the moment in Nigeria. So the big question as we wrap up today is, if the natural resources disappears tomorrow, will we still sustain? What will sustain us as a nation, or what will sustain us as individuals? And that is the truth. Let's challenge ourselves today and do what? And then begin to shift our mindset, understand that there are things that we can do that will earn us money. Thank you for watching World Creation today, and join us next week as we continue to equip you with practical tools to build sustainable wealth and achieve financial independence. Until then, keep watching World Creation and keep building the future you deserve. I am Ambassador Tina Kedechu, your host. Keep watching World Creation on Global Television. Thank you.